Hey there, Wondering Watchers. Welcome to this Love Pick a Card reading, which explores your connection to an old flame and whether they want to heat things up with you again. Whether your prior connection with a certain someone was short-lived and trailed off, or you had your heart broken and want your ex to come crawling back to you, or you're still curious about a boomerang hookup that you've sworn off, this reading lets you know what your past person thinks about you and what you had together, and whether they want that love back in their life. Keep in mind that these cards only provide perspective. You have agency over your life and you make the decisions about how you experience it. Your choices and your actions lead to the ultimate truth of your situation. For those of you ready right now to see what your ex has been thinking, the link to each reading is in the description box below. I have in front of me 3 piles of cards. Pile number 1, we have the Star Seeker Tarot. Pile number 2, Tarot of Oneness. And pile 3, Pastel Journey Tarot Deck. Each of the piles may contain messages regarding your past relationship, so pick the pile or piles of cards that you feel drawn to the most. If you don't receive a specific message that you're hoping to hear in any of the piles, then it may not be for your best and highest good to hear those particular messages at this time. Just follow your intuition to lead you to the reading that's right for you. If you need more time to review your deck choices, then feel free to pause the video. Once you've made your decision, go to the description box and click on the link for the corresponding pile. Now it's time to tap into the cards, choose your Old Flame Tarot adventure, and let's make magic happen. Welcome back. This is the reading for group number 1, those who pick the Star Seeker Tarot to explore whether your past person misses your romantic connection and wants to get back together. So we're going to start off by taking a look at your prior connection with your person. And we're going to see how they kind of viewed you during the relationship. We have here Page of Swords. And we have the Womb. This is a card that is unique to this deck, which is kind of like the concept of growing, learning, getting nurtured, taking in all the good stuff from the environment to kind of grow. And when they're ready to kind of show themselves or reveal the final product, they will, but it's kind of just it's kind of like the concept of the Hanged Man, and also kind of like Queen of Cups, like taking that time to really learn and nurture yourself and grow. And then you have the Page of Swords here, which is another card of kind of learning, being curious. Perhaps they viewed you as someone who was immature or young or still learning about how to communicate and not quite like yet comfortable in your own skin or trying to figure out who you were. Let's see how they think you viewed them in the relationship. You have the Strength card and Judgment. Okay, so they think that you viewed them as someone who maybe was quietly judging you, or that they were like the strong, silent type that also was in a period of figuring out like what they could and couldn't deal with, the things that lifted them up and the things that kind of like brought them down. So it's almost as if they feel like you see them as someone that helped you to kind of figure out who you are and to step into your own power and kind of almost rise up from this concept of the womb, like that they helped you facilitate that. So let's see what they feel was a positive aspect of your past relationship. You have here Knight of Swords and the Sun. So group number 1, your past person feels that the two of you like really were able to pursue the things that made you happy, were able to kind of communicate well with each other. Maybe you both took like similar courses together, or had similar viewpoints on the world, on the environment, things like that. So kind of, it's almost as if they feel the relationship help both of you to kind of advance from this like Page of Swords kind of energy to the Knight of Swords, and really seeing what not only nurtured the both of you, but intellectually, but also was something energizing, something that really made it so you guys were either constantly doing a certain activity together or talking about something, for whatever reason. It's kind of making me think of like people who are really into the same topic, or like board games, or anime, or something along those lines, where it's like the shared interest that really you found you were both really good at. So let's take a look at the negative aspect of your past relationship. You have the Queen of Pentacles, and here we have the Magician. So they feel a negative aspect of your past relationship has to do with growing more as a person, and it's almost like you have this common elevation of like a joint interest, and then one of you kind of growing even more and feeling more comfortable in their own skin, and kind of either having more power in the relationship, or maybe getting a really good job, something that is like financially advantageous, or a position that really helps one of you to advance in their abilities, whether it has to do with like intellectual abilities, or ability to earn money, or the ability to make like a change in your own life. It's kind of as if one of you advanced and kind of outgrew the other, or there was that concept of one advancing quicker or better than the other. So let's see what external factors they think contributed to the downfall of your relationship. You have here the 7 of Swords and the 10 of Pentacles. So 7 of Swords is kind of like that liar, stealer, cheater card. So it could be that with the 10 of Pentacles, it's kind of a card of community and family and material wealth. It could be that if this was like a job, or somebody making more money, or kind of figuring out their career path quicker than the other, it's as if an opportunity for either disclosing how to have that financial wealth, or even to kind of like honestly discuss money, how you deal with money, like day-to-day situations, like this kind of contributed to the downfall of the relationship. Maybe even like someone feeling that they didn't deserve the money that was coming in, or not wanting to talk about money because of someone feeling that it's unequal, like there's an imbalance there. So let's see how they felt when the relationship ended. We have here Queen of Swords and 3 of Cups. So when the relationship ended, your past person felt that this was kind of like they've learned. Again, you got the Page of Swords, the Knight of Swords, then the Queen of Swords. It's like they kind of felt that they learned the hard way. How other people, life, opportunities, really shape how you advance in life. So it's kind of those things. It's almost doesn't matter what you know, but who you know type of situation. And they felt that almost to a certain degree, they were almost slightly hardened by how things ended or why things ended. It feels like this kind of strength card and this judgment card, the way they think you viewed them or how like they were in the relationship. It's as if they kind of had to be the person who maybe was like seen as the bad guy or the naysayer or the person that is not like enjoying the moment, but just like pointing out facts, almost like a little bit withdrawn and a little bit cold. So let's see what they wish they could undo or take back. We have here the Hierophants and the 10 of Cups. So group number 1, your past person thinks that, or kind of wishes they could take back or undo this concept of like whoever's the smartest, whoever's the best, whoever is on top is going to make it so everything works out and everything's happy and everything's just like what they wanted. It's as if this idea of somebody advancing more, being like better at something, that concept really isn't what would make them happy. And to some degree, it's almost as if it feels like your past person, again, like learn the hard way of that reality. That really, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know and how you actually interact with others. So let's take a look at what they've learned about themselves since your relationship ended. We have this ancestors, the love and legacy of our DNA. So group number 1, your past person has learned that the things that they did, more so the way that they thought about things, their priorities, their beliefs, what they believed would make them happy or in life, it does stem from their past. Maybe their family, their parents, and this idea of like how you show strength, how you kind of become a leader and become more powerful. Those ideas really kind of dominated them during the relationship. We have this werewolf exploring wildness. So group number 1, your past person they learned that they were trying to figure out more who they were. You may have thought that they had a better handle of who they were, but they were still trying to figure out what it is that was their true self and how they wanted to operate authentically in their environment, and what was part of a certain belief system that they maybe inherited from someone else and maybe imposed upon you. And we have this skull of flowers creating through the ashes. So, group number 1, your past person is or has learned that they can be a better version of themselves. And possibly it took the ending of your relationship to help them see where they could change or where they could improve. So let's take a look, group number 1, at what your person has been thinking about you since the relationship ended. We have this triumph card, success, victory, achievement. So it could be that they saw you as that magician, someone who was excelling faster, or if that wasn't the case, they see you as now kind of winning, being on top, succeeding in what it is that you want to accomplish in life. We have this apology card, guilt, confession, forgiveness. So here, group number one, your past person has been thinking that they want to apologize to you. You know, perhaps it has to do with this liar, stealer, cheater card in the, the environment or external factors that contributed to the downfall of your relationship. And then let's get one more. We have this third wheel card. Enemy, distrust, flirtatiousness. Interesting. Okay, so they are thinking about this third wheel. And you can see here there's like someone's kind of like hand holding this person on the end, but there's this person in the middle. So, you know, if there was some kind of like liar, stealer, cheater aspect going on in the environment, like your circle of friends, and it's not necessarily about the financial aspects, it's like, if there was some cheating and dishonesty going on there, they really want to like apologize for that. And they recognize how maybe if there was no cheating, what they did gave like a certain sense of inappropriate appearance. And so they're kind of thinking about that aspect. So let's see, group number one, how your person kind of envisions the future. Well, we're not going to take all those cards. So putting them back. And let's shuffle these again. So let's see how your past person envisions their future with you in it, as like if you got back together, what that would be like for them. We have this higher power card. So if you two got back together, they kind of see their future as one that is them co-creating with spirit, being led by a higher power, a higher purpose, being more like on their spiritual journey, being in the right place for their kind of their life purpose almost. So let's see how they envision their future without you being part of it. Oh, they also see themselves as happy. So they kind of, it could be because of like this, like how they felt when the relationship ended. They kind of learned that the trick is more about the people you surround yourselves with. And to some degree, this third wheel might not necessarily even be inappropriate, dishonesty, doing something behind someone's back, but just in general, that concept of like maybe downplaying how much the people you know can help you be where you want to be in life in terms of material wealth and financial status. So it seems like either with you or without you, they're going to be in a good place. They might be happy without you, but with you, they envision their future as being like, it's like exactly right, exactly where they need to be, exactly how their life should be going. And that would include, happiness as well. So let's take a look at the circumstances under which they would want to get back together with you. You have this building blocks. So group number one, it seems like your past person would want to get back together with you when they feel that they have established at least a good solid foundation. It could be that, and when you were together, there was this maybe a race to get to the top, or not really a good grasp, or they didn't have a good grasp of how they themselves could get where they wanted to in life and how to accomplish those things. But it seems like they would want to get back together with you once they started, almost like coming out of the ashes and being that person that they want to be. And almost that would help them figure out, it's almost like it could be this building blocks once they kind of get a better idea of who they want to be, as opposed, or like who they are or who they could be, as opposed to ideas of how to accomplish some end goal. Once they start implementing that in their life, then they're able to kind of be in this place of being in the right spot on their spiritual journey. And so it's almost as if they see that as a potential, like if they're able to, not if, but when they kind of have established themselves, then they are going to kind of come back, maybe even apologize to you and try to clear the air so that you guys can be together again. But let's take a look at some concerns about this potential rekindled romance. So let's see what their concerns are about you two getting back together. We have this third house of communication. So their concerns are still that their thoughts of how to operate the priorities that they had before will still affect them. This third house of communication also includes like early childhood learning, dealing with siblings, and how you kind of have learned from a very early age to kind of communicate your wants and needs, and like what your kind of go-to is. It's almost like, when you write, you like those handwriting papers where you have the lined papers and there's the dashes in the middle, kind of when you're learning handwriting or cursive. And it's something where you have to work out when you're younger, but when you get older, it's kind of just like automatic. It's as if their concerns is that the way that they are, the things that they learned is so much still ingrained in them. And they haven't yet like dropped that as part of this skull of flowers. They're concerned that's going to be an issue again. So let's see what they think you'd be concerned about. We have this 10th house of authority. So this concept of power, this concept of being on top, you have this triumph card, so they already think that you have this power, that you are on top. So they think that you would be concerned about how to deal with that, how to deal with you having more power, dealing with them having more power, and overall just that was an issue before, and it seems like they're concerned it'll be an issue again, because it's almost like the thing that it's not like a fear, it's almost like a jealousy. The things that they were jealous about, they could still be jealous about in terms of success. So let's see what joint concerned about the relationship you'd share. You have this symbiosis card. So here it's kind of like how you guys would amplify if you were together, kind of the fears that you had, the prior issues that you had, how it would like amplify if you got back together. And almost like a concern about if there is issues with authority, power, leadership, dominance, things like that. It's kind of that you two being back together, it's like, will that bring out better qualities, or will it like make the not so great qualities even worse? So let's take a look at the pros and cons of you and your past person getting back together. Let's take a look at the positives, the pros of you two getting back together. What would that be? We have here gifts. So it seems like it seems like one or both of you have the ability to not only have good things happen in your life and make those happen, especially with this Queen of Pentacles and Magician energy, but almost that you can afford things that maybe you both couldn't afford back then or wouldn't have like budgeted for. It's like you could enjoy like the finer things in life now if you got back together. You have this heartbreak card. So positive of getting back together is kind of dealing with this heartbreak. Maybe you both feel like kind of hardened as a result of like the relationship ending and really needing to be surrounded by others to kind of like help you heal, and you could heal together. You have this balance card. So positive of you two getting back together is if you felt like yin and yang, a sense of like they helped you to advance whatever this Magician, Queen of Pentacles, this Triumph is, like if you feel like they really contributed to that and maybe didn't necessarily recognize that or give themselves enough credit for that, it's as if that kind of sense of harmony will be reestablished. So let's take a look at the negatives of you getting back with your past person, group number 1. You have this friendship card. So it seems like the Three of Cups, this third wheel, 10 of Pentacles, like people in your day-to-day life, your friends, your family, your community, that will be an issue or a negative, and it has to do with a sense of like authorities, or it also could be that this connection that you share isn't necessarily one that needs to be romantic in nature, and that you would ultimately realize that you're better off as friends. You have this codependency card. So a negative of getting back together with your past person is kind of feeling that, again, kind of one can't really accomplish something without the agreement or support of the other. And maybe that is, again, kind of has to do with your network, the people that help you advance, or just, one person advancing quicker or faster than the other and just not being okay with it. And then you have this forgiveness card. So the negative of getting back together has to do with forgiveness. Maybe someone hasn't forgiven the other, or hasn't forgiven themselves, or really has to work through the issues that were there the first time to get to the core of what needs to be learned, possibly so that your past person can kind of create through the ashes and be like, come out of this past relationship even a better version of themselves. So this is what I have for you. I hope it provides a helpful perspective of how your ex views your past and potential future connection. We'll see you next time. Take care. Welcome back. This is a reading for group number 2, those who picked Tarot of Oneness, to explore whether your past person misses your romantic connection and wants to rekindle that romance. So group number 2, let's take a look at what they now realize about how they viewed you or the relationship. We have here the Hierophant and Strength. Okay, so group number 2, your past person now realizes that they saw you or your relationship or both as something that was like really hard work, that required them to kind of like conform to a certain idea about perhaps who they are, who you may have wanted them to be, It could be that this is an incorrect perception, but this is the perception that they had while you're together. And perhaps they could have learned something. They could have kind of used that as a lesson to kind of figure out parts of themselves that they didn't want to deal with, that they didn't want to look at, that they didn't want to admit was vulnerable. But it's almost they saw it as more of a challenge to who they are, and something that they were doing reluctantly, or to try to only because it's something you wanted. So let's see what they kind of believe about how you viewed them or the relationship. You have here the embodiment of wands, which is equivalent to the King of Wands. And you have the Five of Wands. So group number 2, they kind of get a sense that you saw them as someone who was really capable, someone who was like a leader, someone who kind of got a lot of attention, but possibly would kind of either not really add to kind of harmonize a group, but would create more conflict and more doubt amongst the group. So with respect to your relationship, it could be that they think you saw them as having the power in the relationship, but their power, they used it in a way that was like causing more annoyance and conflict than was necessary. Almost like they got a thrill over causing chaos and confusion. So let's take a look at what your past person feels was a positive aspect of your relationship. You have this perspective card, which is equivalent to the Hanged Man. And we have here the Two of Swords. So group number 2, it seems like your past person sees that your relationship together, gave them time to recognize they weren't making certain decisions about maybe your relationship or their own life, and really has kind of helped them see that some of the things that maybe were perceived as choices by you were more lack of making a decision and just kind of letting things happen. So kind of deciding not to decide. And they kind of see that as a positive because they are a little bit more aware of the fears that they had or the hesitations that they had or the way that they were thinking about things. So let's see how they now feel was a negative aspect of your past relationship. We have here the Two of Wands and the Spirit of Swords. So group number 2, it seems like they think that when you were together, the things that you wanted them to focus on or the things that you wanted them to see, it could be that you were just being honest, you were trying to be helpful, you were trying to get them to make a decision. They kind of see it as negative in the sense of whatever their focus was, whatever they were planning, it falls in line with this kind of you kind of wanting them to be someone different, to kind of conform to something that wasn't right for them and something that was difficult. And to a certain degree, they kind of feel, maybe you were kind of bossy, even though they think you kind of saw them as someone who was in charge and made the decisions to make things chaotic and not make things easy. You were trying to make things easy and kind of to get them to see what the real choices were and kind of how they can make their steps forward. But they kind of almost were, thinking that was a negative thing, that you were kind of taking away their agency, their ability to be their own person. And whether that's, true or not, this is like just their perspective of things. So let's see what external factors they think contributed to the downfall of your connection. We have here this Temperance card and 7 of Cups. So, there were, maybe you guys went to counseling. Maybe there was someone like a friend who would help kind of mediate arguments that you had or get you to see things, both of you to see things in a different way. But it almost like created more confusion, more to worry about, with this, like having to make a decision with the 2 of Swords. It's more the fears of making the decision were the drawback, and to have this person kind of either show you both the options or show them what they had as the potential, like, if they made the decision, if they made these steps forwards, as you pointed out, it almost kind of caused them to feel more not control over their life. So with this Perspective or Hangman and this Temperance card, there's a lot of just waiting, suspension, and delay, and not really actively moving forward. And if you viewed them as this kind of King of Wands energy, then this is really being in a state of inaction or a state of unknowns, and just letting things happen is almost like the opposite of the way they would flow. And it kind of caused more doubt for them. So let's see how they felt when the relationship actually ended. We have here the 3 of Cups and the 2 of Pentacles. So more 2s coming out here. So they kind of felt that they had maybe juggling, focus on the relationship with you versus their friends, the things that was easy for them, the things that they were emotionally connected to. I'm kind of seeing like these realizations here don't have any like cups. It's not really like emotionally driven, except for this 3 of Cups here. So it seems like they could be more themselves and at ease, and had been almost feeling like they were, I don't want to say not themselves, but like trying to figure out the right balance, trying to decide what it is they wanted for themselves versus what they were trying to do to make you happy. And when things ended, they were a little bit more at ease about what the responsibilities were, what made them feel comfortable, where they could go to kind of connect with people. So let's see what they wish they could take back or undo. We have the World card and Ace of Swords. So it seems like there is either a conversation or some decision maybe even it was like the ending of things itself. With the World card, this is about like completions, success. With the Ace of Swords, it is about clarity, victory, and kind of, a sword kind of is both you can use to hurt someone and to defend yourself. So it's almost as if like the truth, the raw truth of a certain conversation or the ending of your relationship is something that they wish they could undo or take back. Almost like they didn't need to be so heavy-handed with maybe their truth or what they saw was the truth. So group number 2, let's take a look at what your past person has learned about themselves since the ending of your relationship. We have this ancestors, the love and legacy of our DNA. So group number 2, it seems your past person has learned there are certain aspects of how they operate that they may have inherited or modeled after a parent. So if if your ex's parents or their family, the people close to them, if they had problems communicating, making decisions, maybe even were not together anymore, it's as if they've kind of picked up on those, negative habits or patterns, and they're, trying to overcome them. We have here this mummy change. So they've learned that things are going to change regardless, and it's better to be the facilitator of change instead of just allowing things to kind of happen. So they're learning to actually make decisions and to take steps towards certain goals. And it might not be that they know exactly the right decision to make or the right steps to take, but they understand that there is a purpose in it. And here we have eternal love. Love is love is love, and it transcends physical death. So group number 2, your past person understands that regardless of if you're physically together or you're not together, there are emotions, feelings, thoughts that linger on, and that ultimately, things can be repaired, but also there are some things that can't be repaired, and kind of moving on is the best way to show your love and affection for whatever was. So let's take a look at what your past person has been thinking about you since the ending of your relationship. We have this inducement card. It says persuasion, bribe, temptation. So group number 2, it seems your past person feels like you really had a lot of influence over them, that like they're thinking still about doing things the way you would want to do it, or you having more of like control or pushing them to do certain things. So that's kind of what they're thinking about. We have this imagination, variety, fantasy, and mind. So group number 2, it seems like your past person has really kind of been thinking about you in different ways. They might be like daydreaming about you. Maybe there's whoever was this mediator or the person that kind of created more options to explore. Maybe they're thinking that you're pursuing some of these like options that led to the downfall of your relationship. And we have this schedule card. It says management, plan, organize. So group number 2, it seems like your past person is really still kind of seeing you in this Spirit of Swords, which is equivalent to the Queen of Swords energy, and like just being, I don't know if it's bossy, but really making sure that you are moving towards your goal. People around you are moving towards said goals, and it's almost as if they see that you are very persuasive, very powerful, in terms of like how you make people think about themselves, their options, their environment, and how they need to kind of like live their lives. So let's take a look at what kind of future they see with you, without you. Let's start off with the future they see with you in it, with you being like their romantic partner. You have this Y card. So if you were back together again, the future that they kind of see is like almost anything that they did, you'd be questioning why, and that they'd have to figure out what it is you think that they already know or should know. Let's see what else we have here. Let's see what they kind of, I'm going to pull this one more for concerns about getting back together. We have this TikTok card. So it's kind of along the lines with this schedule, this management, planning, organizing card. So the future with you two together again, they kind of envision it as being like planned, time crunch, certain expectations that they'd have to meet at a certain time and in a certain way. So for whatever reason, it's kind of picking up on this like bossiness vibe that they're having for you, and this part where like they wish they could undo or take back. It could be that they were trying to like teach you a lesson about what their truth was and kind of fight back on whatever perceived bossiness or like micromanagement that they were kind of seeing from your side. So let's see how they see their future without you in it. Group number 2, you have this higher power card. So your past person sees their future without you as a part of it, as them really finding their true self, being able to be in touch with their intuition, being able to co-create with spirit, being able to like see things and accomplish things that they were, meant to accomplish. So let's take a look at what joint concern about the relationship you both would have the next time around. You have this chop wood card. So both of you would be concerned that if you got back together, that you would just be going through the motions, that you were just, kind of do what you thought the other person wanted to be done, and whatever the end result is, there's not necessarily like a focus on that. It's just kind of almost like just busy work, just being together just to say you're together and giving it another shot. That's not exactly how I intended it to be, but it's almost like I feel this is the question that needed to be asked right now. So let's see about concerns for getting back together. Let's see what their concerns would be. You have this Vesta Hearth card. So group number 2, their concerns about getting back together would be getting a sense of like hands-off type of nurturing, where there's like no agenda other than being able to kind of help energize and provide a sense of like home, and almost like give like a safe place to be, to kind of plan for their next steps. So their concerns are that this is not something that would be provided, like a hands-off type of approach where, you let them do what they need to be nourished and to move forward. So let's see what they think your concerns are about getting back together. We have Cancer and this Immerse card. So group number 2, they think your concern would be that they would kind of really dive into like old emotions, and kind of like relish in the failures of the prior relationship. And it's almost as if they want like a home that is like functional and energizing and nurturing, but they don't think they're going to get it. And you'd want a home where maybe there was more like honesty and discussion about feelings, but they think that you'd be concerned about it just being focused on like the impractical aspects of the emotion and not really moving things forward or resolving things, but just kind of like it's almost like marinating in what couldn't be accomplished before and what can't be accomplished. So let's see under what circumstances they would want to get back together with you. You have this Conjunction Alliance card. So group number 2, if they actually believed that you would be a team and that you could work well together and play off each other's strengths and be aligned in what your goals were in life, then they'd want to get back together with you. So far, it's seeming like they don't really see that being the case, that it would be more you being in control. So let's take a look at the pros and cons of the relationship if you two were to get back together. So let's see the positives of what the relationship would be. We have this regret card. Doesn't seem very positive, but at least it's something that you could discuss. Maybe discuss this aspect here of how things ended, the discussion about that. You have communications. So again, kind of talking about the things that you regret about the relationship on both sides. And you have this open up. So it would be that there'd be more communication, but in terms of what would come out, if you open up and talk about this regret, it could be their concern of just living and marinating in the negative emotions of the prior relationship. So let's see what the negatives are, the cons of getting back together. We have this heartbreak. So it seems like whether it has to do with like another heartbreak or not really healing from a prior heartbreak, but it seems that's a potential negative. We have here this soul connection. So it could be that you two are soulmates and you've already kind of learned the lessons that you're meant to learn from each other, or getting back together might prevent one or both of you from meeting a true like soulmate that you're supposed to be with romantically going forward. And you have this memories card. So another negative aspect of getting back together is focusing on the past, replaying old things, either in your discussions, in your minds, or repeating those like same negative patterns that you did before. So group number 2, I hope this provides a helpful perspective of how your past person views your connection. We'll see you next time. Take care. Welcome back. This is the reading for group number 3. those who picked Pastel Journey Tarot deck to explore whether your past person misses your romantic connection and wants to heat things up again. So we are going to start off by taking a look at that past relationship, group number 3. So let's see how your past person viewed you or the relationship. We have here Princess of Cups and Queen of Cups. Okay, so group number 3, your past person views your relationship as something that's very like loving, something that really they felt connected to you. They felt that you, like, it's like I feel like this is from crush, like developed from a like young love crush to something that was more deep and mature and like nurturing. So they view you as someone who is very not only loving but open and really caring about people, really being like creative, imaginative, and wanting to do things that are like outside of mainstream, outside of the ordinary. So let's see how they think you viewed them or how they operated in the relationship. We have here 7 of Swords, which is typically liar, stealer, cheater vibes. And we have here the Moon, which is kind of things that are hidden, things that are not clear. So they think you thought they were kind of shady, not really upfront, maybe a little bit moody at times, and maybe just a bit, maybe a little bit withdrawn, but withdrawn because they were like moody. So let's see what they feel was a positive aspect of your past relationship. You know, it's also as if they feel like you really tapped into that emotional aspect of them, and it could be that they didn't really want to share certain things about themselves because of maybe being judged a little bit or fear of like not meeting certain standards. So let's see what they feel was positive about your past relationship. We have here 7 of Pentacles and the Fool. So group number 3, it seems like your past person feels like, you know, maybe one or both of you weren't sure about how this relationship would develop, but kind of went into it with that young love or crush type of energy, and like we're really impressed and surprised at how well you perhaps worked together, or how much fun that you had together, or kind of helped you even set up for your future. It's like it was a good foundation, and you know, lessons learned about how to operate in a relationship. So let's see what they feel was negative about your past connection. We have here the 4 of Cups, perhaps their moodiness, and the 3 of Pentacles. So group number 3, it seems like they feel that, you know, their moodiness really had an impact on how things develop between the two of you, and even, you know, how you operated within your environment, maybe even affected like hanging out with other people, the friends that you made, the activities that you did. It could be that they were like, you know, more of a homebody, or they really were, you really had to make sure the environment, the physical environment, would be something that they could handle and tolerate and want to engage in. So let's take a look at the external factors they think contributed to the downfall of your connection. We have 3 of Cups and 4 of Swords. So to some degree, they feel that either your desire for connection, a social network, a social, just having fun with friends, and their moodiness or their need to kind of like really be withdrawn from too much, I want to say stimulants, but more like too much in their environment. That's really kind of what led to the downfall. So it's kind of making me think of like maybe going on a vacation or something, and your ex was like, I really can't do that, or I can't join, or I'll do this instead. So it's almost like it's a separation of private life from the social life, but it started feeling like not necessarily that your friends took you away, but your desire for a positive emotional connection, as opposed to like, constantly being the facilitator so that your ex could navigate the environment and be okay with it and be happy in it. And it was almost as if they're aware that they were, I don't want to say bringing like a party pooper, but that they were really a lot of effort and almost needed to be kept separate from the social interactions or the people that you were wanting to surround yourself with, but not in a bad way, but because you are so caring, because you are someone that's like energized by that emotional connection, by that concept of being close with someone. So let's take a look at what they feel ended the relationship. We have here the 9 of Wands and the 6 of Wands. So group number 3, your past person kind of feels that, maybe the fact that they were drained of energy, maybe they were needing some attention, like medical attention, mental health attention, something that really, like, for them to be more aware of their environment and to like succeed in their career, in life in general. And it's almost like you had to be that healer and that facilitator, and they feel like the fact that they required so much of your attention when really it wasn't the type of attention that would energize you and lift you up is kind of what led to the downfall of the relationship. So let's see what they wish they could take back or undo. We have the King of Cups and the Star. So they wish that they could kind of take back this presentation or hope that they could be that emotionally supportive, true love for you. Whatever it is, it could be that this 7 of Swords and the Moon, this kind of being a little secretive or trying to like navigate their moodiness as being just really a big-hearted individual that, once they get in a clear-headed space, they will be that emotionally supportive and like be in control of their emotions and their environment type of person. And so that impression or that hope that they may have presented to you falsely or helped you to believe they could be, that's something that they wish that they could take back. So group number 3, let's see what your past person has learned about themselves since your relationship ended. We have this Spider, community, and web weaving. So group number 3, your past person really does understand that you needed to have a social network. You needed to really have a support system that you cared about, that you could kind of explore your own environment with. And that basically there's they didn't want to take you away from that, or they understand how their demands, or maybe not even demands that they made, but knowing your nature, how caring you are, how nurturing you are, they're aware that they impacted your ability to kind of grow your support system. And they know that it was important. They knew it was important then, but probably couldn't articulate it because you were really providing them a lot of their supports. Like, you were their community. You have this mummy change. So group number 3, your past person understands that the things that they did in the relationship has to change, that some of their beliefs, how they felt that they were kind of protecting themselves, is something that needs to change. And here we have this jack-o'-lantern protection. So group number 3, your past person, they understand that, or they have learned that they need to be able to take care of themselves emotionally, physically, mentally, and be able to kind of recognize their own weaknesses and work on themselves so that they can be a more solid person in life, but also in kind of providing that connection with a significant other, being able to have that significant other feel like they are also in a safe place, that your past person can provide support and can be like steady in themselves, and that was really kind of lacking. And you were doing most of the protection and helping them deal with their environment, deal with the challenges that they couldn't really handle on their own. So let's take a look at what your past person has been thinking about you since the relationship ended. We have this trap card. It says victim, allure, and trick. Interesting. Let's see what else we have. We have luck, jackpot, fortune, and reward. And we have this memory card. It says remembrance, commemoration, reunion. Okay. So group number 3, the way that your past person has been thinking about you since the relationship ended is kind of like they feel that they put you in a trap. They feel that with this kind of, I don't know if it was a promise, external promise of like, I will be that person you need, I will give you support, or if it was just the impression of that they could be that way. They see that, they think they really did kind of trap you, and it is because you really helped them out. This luck card here, they see that you are someone that really lifts people up, and that the people that surround you are really lucky to be a part of your life because you give them so much that you might not be aware of. And they've been thinking about your past relationship, and possibly wanting to effectuate this change, and thinking about how they impacted your connection with your friends or family, and how you were really there for them. And it's almost like you were a little bit of a role model in this King of Cups and Star. They were hoping that they could somehow catch up to be the person that you need. So they are thinking about those things. So let's see how they kind of look at their future. So in terms of their future, with you in it, if you were to kind of get back together with this reunion, what would that look like? We have to the sea. So they'd still, even if you were with them, they would still be in a place of needing to let go of certain baggage, need to let go of things that no longer serve them. And to some degree, they might, need that support again, that emotional support. You can see there's this person in this little bathtub is surrounded by water, and you've got this like face that's kind of overseeing things. So they kind of see with you in their future, like, again, kind of protecting them and helping them with this change. So let's see how they envision their future without you in it. Interesting. You have this community card, this concept of community again. So without you in it, it might be that they find a community that really helps them to become this King of Cups, but it's more so without you in it. It's almost like they're going to be looking at other people's connections and like wanting to imitate that. Like you see this like big giraffe and this little baby giraffe like touching noses. It's as if your past person see themselves as still learning and trying to not imitate, but find their own community. So let's see under what circumstances they would want to get back together with you. We have this message in a bottle. So basically they are like constantly either looking for or seeing signs in their day-to-day life that like remind them of you, that kind of indicate or make them wonder if that is a sign to reach back out to you, to get back together. So it's like they are kind of taking every opportunity, every positive opportunity that is reinforcing that idea, and thinking about it. So seems like a lot. So let's take a look at concerns of a rekindled relationship. So group number 3, let's take a look at what their concerns are if you two got back together. We have Mercury messages. So their concern is really being able to communicate on your level, to possibly communicate honestly, because this, 7 of Swords here, they were not necessarily communicating honestly, or they were hiding some aspect of what they were thinking, how they were feeling, how much they relied on you. So to some degree, they are concerned about, if they have mental health issues, or there's a question of their emotional or mental health, they're concerned about how that would affect the two of you. And in terms of what they think your concerns are about getting back together, you have this Pallas Athena Think card. So it seems like you kind of share that concern, that the things that they think, the things that kind of they need to kind of operate in their life, the ability to kind of plan and execute and make the changes that are needed for this relationship to work is something they think would be concerning to you, and that you ultimately would have to help them. You would have to help them process their environment and still kind of do this, the same things of like helping them operate in an environment where they feel comfortable. So those are still the concerns. So let's see about a joint concern about the relationship if you were to take another round. We have solar flares and activate. So it seems like a joint concern is kind of like how you could have your ex really operate on their own, move forward in life on their own, and kind of be their own person without some type of support on your end or initiation on your end, or maybe like having a temper, the downside of the moon, where there's moodiness and kind of irritability and not really comfortable with an environment, just like kind of like tempers, having a temper tantrum, or just being like overall just upset. So let's take a look at the pros and cons of you and your past person getting back together, group number 3. So let's look at the positives of if you got back together with your ex. You have this true love card. So it seems like for you, you really wanted your past person to be this King of Cups. You really felt there was that emotional true love connection between you two, regardless if they felt they could live up to that. You have this security card. So group number 3, your past person, if you got back together with them, it's as if you would be willing to provide that security that they need, to provide them protection if they need it, because you see it as, them feeling secure would apply to the both of you. And if you are that nurturing type of person where you're okay with taking charge and leading things to kind of make sure that you and your significant other are loved, cared for, and protected. You have this regret card. So the pros of you getting back with your ex is that it's almost like you could help them heal or work through whatever regret that they have about not meeting their own standards, or what they thought you wanted them to be, or what they thought they couldn't be for you. So let's see about the negatives of the two of you getting back together, group number 3. You have this healing card. So if you and your past person got back together, it's almost as if they could not continue to heal on their own. And it may be that this community is they need to find people who are working through the same issues, so they kind of have the right tools to manage when they're feeling uncomfortable, when they're feeling withdrawn, when they're feeling moody, things like that. And to a certain degree, if you two got back together, it would probably be at a point where they're not quite healed from the past relationship. We have these differences card. So group number 3, if you and your ex got back together, the negative aspect would be that you would still be very different people, and that's fine. But that the differences where there is it'll drain both of you of energy. It will kind of cause whatever light or spark that you have and they're drawn to, and whatever light or spark they're trying to create for themselves, it will be an issue where it will be draining on both of you, or it will be harder to keep that spark going. And you have this control card. So it seems like concepts of control over your own life, them having control over their life, that is going to be a negative aspect of getting back together, at least the way that things are right now. There are a lot of, aspects your past person is still trying to work through, and some aspects that they need to let go of on their own and continue to heal and become their own person. So I hope this provides a helpful perspective of how your ex views your past and future connections. We'll see you next time. Take care.